While the following episode is accepted for under 18s to listen to, we delve into some pretty serious topics, such as mental health, hardships while growing up, and racism. To anyone suffering right now, there is someone out there who will talk to you and give you the time of day. I hope everyone enjoys the video, and you can get enjoyment out of the light moments within, and get some semblance of hope and reassurance from the dark areas. Thank you so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the video.
Bro said I'm back and I'm better, he's stressed cause they took the Beretta. I'm missing. Reason why I can't come from a mission. And I came from a mission. You read intention different. Back and I'm better, they gave me the smithing. I was just banging, now you're just fibbing. I just wanna make you cry. The shot is gonna make you die. When I ride, hit chest on a ride. Had a 60 there couple times. Burn guns when I make you fly. Air J's or the 95s. If we put a 30.
Hello and welcome to the Be-Cray Podcast. This is episode 3 with my close friend Shae, better known as Zin, or Shin if you're so inclined. Welcome to Shae. Shae is a good mate of mine. I first met through mutual friendships between himself and JD and one of our other very close friends, KingChubbs, who you'll be hearing from soon enough. Through having laughs and enjoying a variety of games together, we became fast friends. And I do count him as one of my closest friends, especially throughout lockdown. First thing to say is welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Wholesome hours right now.
Yeah, of course, man, of course. So obviously, as well as saying your name Shae, I said Zin. So what made you come up or even choose the name Zin?
Well, a lot of my mates know that one of my favourite anime/mangas is something called Kingdom. And the main protagonist out of that is probably I've taken the name because basically the protagonist is sick. And I've now adopted it into pretty much everything.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's not got a special meaning, it's not got a special origin, I just stole it. I ain't gonna lie.
It's just something that you thought was pretty damn awesome, and you're like, that's what I'm gonna put as my name.
Yeah. Although it seems to be a lot more common than I thought, because I always have to put a spin on it, no matter what game I sign up for.
Right. Yes, it's always quite annoying, like whether you've had to make another account or you've just started a new game and you try and put in a username that you've always used or you really like, and then it's bloody taken.
Yeah, so I think that's why I had to change my name on CS to Zin_CSGO. Completely stole it off KingChubbs, but you know,
Yeah.
I won't mention that.
No, of course. Now, unlike my previous 2 guests, from my knowledge, you don't stream, or at least you don't stream very regularly. Have you ever streamed before, or is it something that you're looking into getting into?
Yeah, so I streamed once or twice before, just like to see how it went. I mean, both times went quite well. It's just I would like to stream. One, my internet is shocking, so I don't think it can kind of take the beating of streaming. Another thing is that I live with a very loud family, so that's a bit of a pain sometimes. But yeah, no, definitely. If I can move out and I get better internet, I'd definitely like to stream. But I think it would be something that I'd do on the weekends, maybe once a week or something, just for my own enjoyment.
Yeah, of course. Especially with the world as it is right now, we've seen a lot of people who are either streamers streaming a lot more or getting into streaming as a means of finding something to do. And on that point of lockdown, we will talk about that a little bit more detail later. As I previously mentioned, you and me, we met through our mutual friendships with JD and KingChubbs.
Yeah.
So where and how did you first meet those two lads?
So I met both Joe and Jack, and the rest of our mates, kind of Matt, everyone like that, through college. We all went to Chichester College, and I believe that we all met on the first year of the level 3 computing course. However, we didn't become, well, me and Joe didn't become like super close friends until the second year of college. So
Yeah.
the second year of level 3. But other than that, yeah, no, me, Jack, through Jack I met Cody and obviously yourself. And we've all become very, very close friends. Like,
Yeah.
easily say you lot are probably the closest. I mean, at the point you're kind of almost family to me. So
Well, I really appreciate that, and it's likewise to you, man.
yeah,
No,
it's
that's a really nice story. You met them through college, got on with them really well, and all these years later, you're still all mates.
yeah.
Which
So
is a lovely thing to hear.
I think I don't know what it is, because we were all very, very different people. Like,
Okay.
I kind of came in as a rugby player a rugby player that enjoyed anime and playing games. I know it doesn't really mix, but you know.
Well, you know what they say. They say opposites attract. So
Exactly. Jack obviously being Jack. Matt was Matt was a lot less confident back then, but he was a crease. But I mean, there's Cam,
Well,
Lucas.
on that point, you know, I'm gonna take a little step back and say that controversy creates cash. So I want to stir the pot. I want to stir the pot up. In particular, talking about JD and KingChubbs.
Yes, yeah.
What was your first impression of them?
Well, obviously, Jack's always been kind of like the standard anime kid. You know, he constantly got anime apparel on. I walked in there, I couldn't do nothing but rate it, to be honest. Like, I mean, he had the balls to
balls
show
on
off. Yeah, he had the balls to show off that.
Didn't care what anyone would say.
Yeah, and I'm kind of over there, just like I watch. Well, I play games and I play watch anime, but I don't ever say that. I don't go out and be like, oh yeah, I watch this, and this. I kind of just hide that fact back then.
Now,
Like, 'cause I played rugby.
Why do you think that is? Is that because of a certain social stigma that might come with admitting?
Yeah. So I mean, even now, it's getting more popular. You know, manga and anime are on the rise, and especially in kind of like rap, it's becoming a lot more prominent. You'll find multiple lyrics about Naruto and other animes, Berserk, stuff like that. But I feel like that's only been over the past couple of years. Back then, because obviously when you picture a rugby lad, they're very laddish. They go, you know, pub, hang out with their mates, go to parties, stuff like that. And I was never really like that. I just enjoyed playing the sport. But yeah, no, there was definitely kind of like a social stigma around. I would definitely say that I was probably I would say embarrassed to admit that I watched it back then.
Yeah.
And now
that it's more potentially socially acceptable, more people are happy to show their interests.
Yeah, I would say it's got something to do with that, but also I feel like confidence is quite key in the matter. Because I mean, I'm fairly confident now, and I've got the mindset of, well, you've got your opinions. If I don't like them, you can get fucked.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like, 100%. It's if you don't like something based on what it is and you've never tried to watch it or look at it or, you know, attempt to read it or something, how can you say it's bad?
And obviously, like, seeing Jack at that point, seeing that he was like very open with his interests and he wasn't really going to take any crap from anyone who might say otherwise, that gave you a little bit of respect for him, that he was able to show that.
Yeah, I've always had respect for the lad. Like, he's a crease. Like, whenever you're around him, he's so funny. He's
100%. 100%.
like, I think, like, yeah, as I said, that's why we all became so close friends. Not only did we have kind of like, we all have similar stories in our upbringings and stuff like that, with different stuff that happens.
And we can all give and take the banter. That's
yeah, exactly. Sometimes it does get too much, and sometimes I might go too far. But even then, like, there's no hard feelings between us.
So that was a little brief talk about Jack. What about KingChubbs?
So Joe, I spoke to him like once or twice in the first year of college, because he basically, for the first year, kind of just focused on his work.
Right.
And he never kind of was I don't know, because he never kind of like tried to make any progress into like friend groups, it seemed.
He kept to himself.
Yeah. He kept to himself quite a bit, but in the second year, it's kind of like when he started speaking, because I think he started chatting to people about games and stuff like that, and then kind of we all started playing CS, and that's when it's kind of our kind of friend group kind of all got together, and we started playing CS kind of like every day, getting up to that MG2. Oh no, that's before that. Sorry. So we got up to MG2 with Jack, Cody, I think.
So MG221, listening, who doesn't know, is a competitive matchmaking rank in the game Counter-Strike Global Offensive. It's a sort of, the mid-range competitive rank, somewhere you'd get. After a month or so of playing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it took us quite a bit more than that, but
my first ever competitive rank was Silver 1, and I got to LEM. So everyone can get somewhere if you try.
Yeah, exactly. But so at that point, I think Cody decided to install some B-hop scripts that were a bit naff, and although he could already B-hop about 10 times better than the script allowed him, he got banned, which means we all lost our ranks and about 150 to 200 wins. So it was a bit of a pain. So after that, I was like, right, I'm pissed I ain't playing CSGO.
That's why we can't have Cody on the podcast, because you might get our account banned. I joke.
But
so you just had your accounts banned.
Yeah, well, he had his account back banned. We just got our ranks and everything removed because we all played together. So when he got banned, all of our kind of ranks, all of our wins were taken away from us.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a pain. And then we all kind of stopped playing for a while. And then we met Joe, or Joe came into our friend group, and we started playing CS again. And because he was very good at the time, not so much anymore. He was very good at the time because he was semi-pro, I believe. He was in a team called Creatures Esports, I think. But basically, because we were playing with him, we were playing with like much higher level people, and at the beginning we were getting absolutely dicked on, which is standard. But then, kind of afterwards, after like maybe a month or so, we kind of started climbing through the ranks to the point where
you started to adjust to that skill level.
Yeah, we've all been LE, and at that point we kind of realized that matchmaking does not have a future. So we all started playing Face It, and we all got fairly high ranks on there. Well, I say fairly high ranks. I think the highest that anyone's ever been was Joe, and he was level 7, I think.
So not to go on for too long, but explain to the people who maybe don't know, what is Face It in terms of Counter-Strike Global Offensive?
So Face It is basically it's a site that allows you to play on a server with a 128 tick server, which is better than the Valve matchmaking servers, because the tick rate is much higher. It has a much better.
It's a much smoother system.
Yeah, it's a lot more competitive as well. it's a lot more competitive, and you don't have to deal with as many Russians, which is
True.
good. But
Because as we know, in Counter-Strike, there's a lot of people who don't have very good mics and maybe don't speak the same language, and they sometimes just shout a lot.
yes, that happens quite a lot. That happens a lot. But I mean, with Valorant coming out, I'm not sure how it's going to be now. Because I see it's still doing very well. So
yeah,
might
I mean,
have to-
the talk that Valorant would kill in quotation marks Counter-Strike is kind of stupid. Counter-Strike's been around for
nothing
20
will kill
years.
Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike Global
honestly.
Offensive has been around for 8 years. The core player base are never going to leave.
Yeah, no.
Valorant's just going to take people from other places.
Yeah, like League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're essentially they're just their own competition.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're playing Face It, and that's all going well. At this point, you're still getting to know Joe better.
Yeah. So at that point, we all became really good friends over CS, and kind of a lot of late nights just playing CS with the boys, getting high ranks, getting decent clips sometimes, other times not. And that's when Joe was started kind of streaming. He started trying to stream CS, and to be honest, I think we all backed him all the way, and I think it's definitely something that he's wanted to do for a long time. But no. So I mean, my initial thoughts on him was just like, he's a chill guy, and kind of from there, as I said earlier, we've all been through similar stuff throughout our life. We all kind of can relate to each other, and to be honest, Joe's kind of always been there for me. I try to always be there for him. Whenever he has issues going on, I'm there. If I have issues going on, he's there. So
it's a nice brotherhood that's been built over the years.
Exactly.
Which is, it's really nice, and it's good to hear.
Yeah, it's very wholesome hours out here, boys.
So while we're talking about these things that happened slightly in the past, let's take it back even further.
Yes, prepare for it to get dark.
Let's talk about your childhood and your earlier life. Whereabouts did you grow up?
So I grew up in Brighton, moved over to Worthing when I was like 4, and then when I was about 6, we moved over to Ferring.
Okay.
Now, the reason we had to move out of Brighton is because, all my mates know this. My dad is a bit of a criminal. So we got forced out of Brighton because he was being basically hunted down by some people from London over a drug debt. So we had to move to Worthing to kind of get out of that. And then when we moved from Worthing, I think we moved to where I currently am, which is in Ferring. And we moved, it was basically for school. Ferring Primary School, just around the corner from me. It was decent. And I think kind of getting out of Worthing was good for us.
So obviously you speak about that, at the time you wouldn't have really understood anything that was going on, and maybe you did, but not to the extent that you understand it now. So moving away from Brighton to Worthing and then moving on again was potentially a very good thing for you. How did you find schooling in Ferring? Did you enjoy it or did you hate it?
Yeah, no, I quite enjoyed school life because we were quite a close community. All my best mates, all my kind of mates at the time, all came from around Ferring, so we were constantly out playing football, going out just to the park, playing around. In fact, I had one of my closest friends was just around the corner from me, and we were pretty much inseparable until the end of high school, and we went to different colleges and pretty much never spoke after that. Which is how it goes.
Obviously you said as well that you went to college. Did you ever go into any further education on from that?
No. So from college, I took, I believe it was 2 years off. I originally I had plans with KingChubbs to go traveling. Unfortunately, that didn't turn out because of some family issues I had to deal with. So I ended up taking 2 years off trying to find a job in IT, and I think it actually ended up taking me about 2.5, 3 years to find a job in IT. I had multiple interviews over the time, but basically I was told I don't have a diploma, I'm not good enough, which is nice and fun. It's just, it's a bit of a kick in the balls sometimes.
Well, I was
But
going to say, you're searching all around, and then, after all that time to then be just, it's almost like a kick in the gut.
Yeah, exactly. You get through the first few stages, you get told, no, you don't have the job. But I mean, I'm currently working in IT now. I work up in Cowfold for a company called Wessex IT. It is probably my dream job. I love it.
That's really good to hear.
I'm so happy that I managed to actually get into a job that I enjoy.
And obviously, we've spoken about your family in some sense, about the hardships and the reason why you had to move when you were younger.
Yes, yeah.
How would you describe your relationship with your family members now?
So, for a long time, basically, I still talk to my dad, which the people or my family that I currently live with do not like at all because they absolutely despise him, which is completely understandable. I'll probably tell you something in a second that's going to absolutely shock all the viewers, but to me, it's normal because I've always grown up around it. And my childhood has been very based around all that stuff. Now, I don't really like saying it, mainly because I feel like when I say it, it feels like I'm looking for sympathy. But I kind of just want to raise awareness of if this type of stuff is happening to you, it does get better. It's only
It's
a matter
an
of time.
important thing to have a dialogue about.
Yeah. So I only started talking about all this stuff couple of years. Actually, last year. And I was basically forced into going counselling by my ex-girlfriend and my mum because I had a massive mental breakdown and I had a panic attack. And basically, I wasn't very mentally stable for a good part of 3-4 months. Constantly going in and out of depression. Getting to a point where I almost jumped in front of a train one time. But yeah, no. So basically, what kind of started all this stuff off is back when I was 7. This is kind of like the main thing, is that I witnessed my dad trying to kill my mum, and I feel like if I wasn't around at the time, now I'm not saying I stopped him. There's not much a 7-year-old can do against a 6 foot massive man, pretty much. So basically, I feel like if I was not there that day, my mother would not be alive, and my father would most likely be in prison. So kind of ever since that day, I've always repressed my emotion.
It's something that's stuck with you.
Yeah, I've always repressed it. I've never really had anyone to go to because my mum was a single mother with 4 kids who was a teacher, so she was barely ever around. My grandparents, they all died when I was very young. My auntie and uncle, they had their own kids to deal with, stuff like that. And at that point, I kind of repressed all my emotions and started focusing on everyone else apart from myself. And it's always been like that. I would much rather watch myself get hurt than someone else. Now, I feel like
it's quite a systemic and potentially unfortunate outcome of these things when people are going through a lot is
Yeah,
they don't want to make other people feel bad for them, and they want to
exactly.
make sure everyone else is taken care of.
I feel like it's especially prominent in men's mental health,
Right.
because I would call it a stigma of even now, even now I've gone through counselling, everything like that. I feel like
Being told you've got to man up.
yeah, yeah. So there's always that thing of like, it's not necessarily that people are saying it. It's more just a mental attitude of men
It's
being
something that,
like,
that men put on themselves.
yeah, exactly. It's like, I'm a man. I shouldn't be showing weakness, which is absolutely fine to show off mental health. Like, I've learnt this after what, 16 years? No, 13 years. Sorry, of constant. I wouldn't constant repression of my emotions. I've always been very closed off, and as I say, it's only over the past year that I've actually managed to start speaking about all of it.
Yeah.
Now, kind of growing up through all that, as I said, I've been through multiple deaths, um, a lot of family deaths, which didn't help. It kind of shrunk my family and who I can speak to even more. A lot of close relationships kind of
You
dead,
feel like
pretty much.
avenues of dialogue where you potentially had someone that, even if at the time you didn't feel like you could speak to, it's someone that was a
Yeah,
potential avenue to speak.
exactly.
Then
Yeah.
been closed off.
So yeah, basically after that, because my mum was a teacher and she worked from like 6 a.m. to about 8 o'clock at night, I pretty much had to take on, or I felt like I didn't have to. I felt like I had to take on the role of an adult in the house.
You
So I,
became the quote unquote man of the house,
yeah, exactly.
the provider.
Yeah, yeah. Now that wasn't forced onto me. It was a role I took on myself when I was young because back then, as I said, I would much rather have seen myself hurt than someone else. And going through all that, kind of life was going wellish. Was doing decent in school. Still playing rugby. As I said, still carrying on the relationship with my dad.
Yeah.
I know it sounds a bit odd, like why the fuck are you talking to someone who tried to murder your mum? Honestly, I don't have an answer for that. The only thing is the only thing I can say is that he's my dad, and
Well,
I
blood
love
is
him.
blood is blood.
Yeah, exactly. There's
It's
something
it's
there
it's,
that just
it's
kind of
never going
stops
to
me from
change.
hating him. Yeah, exactly.
So you can never be hard on yourself for that.
Yeah, no. I know, but it's something that constantly gets brought up by my
Right.
family, which
Yeah.
is yeah. um, but basically, yeah, growing up through life, it was not bad.
Things were starting to get better.
Yeah, things were starting to get better, but I also feel like obviously playing rugby, stuff like that, going to school, I always had a facade going on, kind of like a mask.
Yeah.
I never really felt that I could be proper until I kind of met my mates in high school and I started chatting to them and stuff like that. And another thing actually is I actually got very, very fat um, from being fairly skinny as a kid. I got fairly fat up until about 18 when I started working in the co-op. And I feel like eating was a way to kind of also help the emotions. Is feel good method. I started eating like £3 worth of sweets every other day at secondary school.
Right.
So obviously that isn't healthy.
It was a reward for you. It was something that would take your mind off of things.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of became the kid that was known for always having sweets on him in school. Still
Which must
playing
have
rough.
also been quite
It was
detrimental.
Yeah, no, it wasn't too bad because I was on the. I mean, I've always had quite a good relationship with everyone.
Right.
I would like to say I'm fairly easy to get on with. Um, I mean, I've never really had a problem with anyone. I don't think many people had a problem with me. Like, there's definitely been times where there's been a bit of animosity between people, but I mean, as I said, I've always kind of held the outlook of, if that's your opinion, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So I mean, other than that, growing up, started working in the co-op when I was 18. Actually, no, I think I started when I was 17. And worked in there till I was 20.
So
Um,
explain your experience working.
so I would say never work in retail. It is probably one of the worst jobs, underpaid, very stressful. Your managers will always be an absolute twat.
Did you
You're
find
only
yourself ever having large bust ups with management?
Yes, yes. So I was very kind of rebellious towards management in co-op, just because they didn't show respect for people. So why should I show respect for them? The only people I got on with were the supervisors. Now the supervisors, they're all kind of like a couple years older than me. They're just basically they're just in the supervisor role until they get a new job. Which is, I've met quite a few people who were working in co-op. They moved on. We haven't really spoke much since then. But yeah, no, I would say the only the only thing that was decent with co-op was some of the people that you work with are fucking amazing. But the negatives really outweigh the positives. And I mean, I got attacked in co-op. I've been headbutted. I've got in multiple fights at the co-op.
Now, if I could go on to something else, and this is not something that you have to speak about. While you were working at the co-op, obviously we've seen there's been a lot of protests recently. You know, in terms of social change and the betterment and equality. Have you ever experienced any racial hatred towards yourself?
Yes. It was
Right.
It was a bit of an odd one, really, because I was having a cigarette Outback, and East Worthing is not known to be the nicest of places.
Sure.
There's a lot of what you would say. Yeah, what you would say. Probably 90% of the EDL probably live there.
Right.
Yeah, that type of people, bunch of benefit scroungers, pretty much. But I was having a cigarette, and because I didn't go twos on the cigarette with some random person, he called me he called me the N-word, which I find very funny. Not the N-word as being very funny, as me being called the N-word. For those of you that don't know, I'm not even very close to being black. I am a slight tint of caramel, I should say.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I've been called the racial term for Pakistani. I don't want to use it on the podcast for obvious reasons. But yeah, no, it's definitely something, because I was having this chat the other day, and I don't necessarily want to go fully into it, but I'd say being racist is definitely a systemic problem. Like, it's always going to be carried down in families, especially when the children that are in those families are still young. They're probably the only ones that have any hope of actually changing, because kids are actually fairly smart and they'll realize what they're doing.
No one's ever born racist.
Exactly, they're taught to be it. It's like no one's ever born religious; they're taught it.
Yeah,
it's. I think it's ridiculous that it is still prevalent in this day and age. And to be honest, I fully believe that religion still has stuff to do with it. And I'm not at all religious. I don't believe in anything. I'm not an atheist. I don't believe anything. And I feel like there's too many
You're,
things.
you're someone who lives for the here and now.
Yeah. I don't believe in any higher power. Like, if there was one and it came down one day,
Sick.
and yeah, like, okay, cool. Why the fuck are we like this? Like, why are we constantly warring?
Yeah.
Why are we killing each other? Like, you're a bit of a sick fuck. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I feel like it's definitely systemic, and this world has a problem. And it's never, to be honest, I don't think it's ever going to be solved, because it's human nature. There's always got to be someone on top. And
obviously, going on from that, which is absolutely horrendous to for anyone to be subjected to any kind of racial hatred.
Yeah.
Obviously, we said about the relationship with your father.
Yes. Yeah.
Relationship with your friends. Trying to live in a very, as you say, noisy household, trying to keep up a facade for you and your friend group at the time.
I mean, I've
working in co-op, which was very stressful. Lots of arseholes who were managers.
Yes.
Potential other things that came from that, and other tragedies with people that you know.
Yes. Yeah.
How did you come to overcome this, or if not overcome it, to this day and age, to the here and now? How are you dealing with these issues?
So I'm a firm believer in that these issues will never go away. You're always going to have them.
Yeah,
and it's something that you can't get rid of. Like, counseling, it can help you deal with it. When I went, I found it absolutely useless. And it wasn't until, because after I had my mental breakdown, a couple months later, one of my best mates died, and that kind of pushed me into a big spout of depression. And that was kind of a couple weeks later, when I was just like,
I mean, you've just gone through one of the most traumatic experiences of your life, and then then to lose a very close friend.
Yeah, so that kind of ended up actually almost pushing me off the train station edge, almost in front of a drain.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if it wasn't for my ex-girlfriend at the time, which I'm forever thankful for, like, don't get me wrong, she really, really helped me with my mental health. She encouraged me to speak about it, and yeah, to be honest, if it wasn't for her at the time, I probably wouldn't be around right now. And to be honest, I'm very, very glad that I didn't, because life has only really got better. And
as we've both said, this is why it is so important to anyone listening. If you are dealing with similar things, if you have dealt with similar things,
if
you feel like there is no one to talk to right now, there is someone there who does want you to succeed and wants you to talk to them. And
exactly.
You won't be stressing them out. You won't be putting things onto them. They will be here for you if you.
Yeah, I mean, if there is anyone out there listening that is going through similar issues, or does have these kind of these thoughts going on, like, I just want to say that it does get a lot better. And don't do anything that you might regret or that your family will regret. And I mean, to be honest, if you really need someone to talk to, you can always join our Discord. I mean, or you could send me a direct message.
The Discord
and
links,
I don't mind helping out.
The Discord links are over all of the pages on the YouTube, in the description, in the About section. You can always find it. And as Shae said, the links to our direct social medias will be there if you ever needed to get in contact.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just send us a quick message, and by all means, I'll have a chat to you. I don't mind. I know what it's like going through all that stuff. And I mean, to be honest, it really kind of it took that much kind of to hold. It took that much kind of mental strain and that amount of trauma to actually make me who I am today. And to be honest, in a way, that kind of bad part about my life has actually become something good. And it is kind of pushed me towards the person I am.
It's made you stronger.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think, I mean, even back, well, with the death of my best mate, at the point I thought it just wouldn't end. Like, I was constantly just depressed. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to do anything. So yeah, it is just like, it is something that is going to get better. That's all I want to say on that. Probably lighten up the tone a bit.
Yeah, but that, as we say, it's such an important conversation to be had, and it's important, for everyone, but especially to men as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think,
To hear
although
this.
it is obviously prominent in women, I think with men it's just not talked about enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we will lighten up the tone now. As we first mentioned, when I first gave you the illustrious introduction,
Yes,
you're a gamer.
I am indeed.
We're all big fat gamers. So, what was the first ever game you remember having as a kid?
Rayman on the PS1.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that was. I don't know what it was about. I think it was on the PS1. In fact,
Do
yeah.
you remember how you came about having that game? Was it something that was
So
bought?
yeah, no, I don't know why. I had like 10 PS1s. As a
Okay,
kid. I know, it's like my dad kept on coming round and just dropping more off.
right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know where he got them from, but
So things like that might just come with the territory.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I always had I think whoever he got it off had left a copy of Rayman in there, and I just kind of got off of playing it. I loved it. But I mean, as I said, I wasn't. I grew up with console. Kind of like I moved from PS1 to Xbox 360. Kind of playing Modern Warfare, all that type of stuff. Stopped playing games for quite a while to focus on rugby. Got to a decent level. And then kind of after rugby stopped, which was partly due to me getting a PC, mainly for League of Legends. Take that how you will.
So rather than getting angry on the pitch, you thought you'd get angry online.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no. So the reason why I got a PC originally was because all my mates at secondary school didn't shut up about this game, League of Legends, and I played it around my mates at one time, and I loved it like straight away. So slowly, after a while, my interest in PCs started to arise, and which is why I'm now in IT. Yeah, no, I think Rayman was
Can you
the.
give us a brief rundown of how good your first PC was?
Oh my god, it's god
In
awful.
terms of running games.
So I think it just managed to run League at like 60 FPS. My first PC.
As most budding PC players will know, when the first computer's never really that good.
Yeah, no, it was
Something like-
obviously I didn't know much about PCs back then. I just bought a pre-bought one off of Amazon. Biggest
Right.
mistake of my life. Waste of
Yeah.
600 quid. Complete
Oh,
waste of
amazing.
600 quid. But then after a couple of years of working in the co-op, I managed to save up enough money to buy my current PC, which is much
Cool.
better. And yeah, kind of from there, it just kind of my interest in gaming just took right off. And like, I'd much rather kind of play games and go out.
Would you say that League of Legends is your favorite game ever?
No, no, not at all.
What would that game be?
Borderlands 2.
Borderlands 2?
Yes, nothing can beat that game to me. Like, I have so many enjoyable moments.
Not even the first Borderlands.
I didn't enjoy it that much. Borderlands 2 just added so much new stuff.
So explain why Borderlands 2. What was it about it?
I love the art style, the characters, the boss intros, the guns. It's just like it was kind of like the first game of its kind. Obviously, after Borderlands 1, but
the sort of looter shooter.
Yeah, just do what you want, kill everything, and you get rewarded for it. And it was so fun, like especially with like mods. You get loads of different guns, and I think, yeah, no, because like Borderlands 2, it's just always been my favorite game. Whenever I play it,
A brilliant set of characters and world building as well. Like it's
yeah, exactly.
Although it's so crazy and mental, it's like it's very believable, and you can really immerse yourself.
Yeah, the character development in there is mad. You feel really bad when characters die. Rip Bloodwing. Yeah, no, it's like I feel like it's definitely one of a kind, that game.
How does it compare to Borderlands 3?
I haven't actually played Borderlands 3, so I could not tell you.
Is
I
that
am
something-
planning to play it.
Yeah,
I think it would be kind of fun if we kind of all did a run through on a stream or something.
that would be really cool. I'd definitely be up for that.
Yeah, because like I know I did watch quite a few playthroughs of Borderlands 3, and from what it seems like, it seems very, very similar to Borderlands 2. So I feel like I'm going to enjoy it. Well, I hope anyway. But I was just waiting for it to go on sale, to be honest, because I'm a cheap bastard.
And have you ever played or watched someone play Tales from the Borderlands?
Oh, but yeah. So yes, I have, but I didn't watch much of it.
Because a lot of people will slate that one as being one of the worst Telltale games that they had released.
I
But
thought it was brilliant.
obviously, like seeing as you being quite a massive Borderlands fan, as am I,
Yeah,
I absolutely loved it.
yeah. I
I
thought it was
absolutely loved
good.
it.
From what I saw, it was a very interesting kind of take on Borderlands.
And as
Like,
well, like because apart from other Telltale games where you lead a protagonist, you played as multiple people,
yeah, exactly.
which was like a really cool touch, I thought.
Yeah, I think they had massive balls to do that after the success of Borderlands 2.
Mm.
I mean, to be honest, it's always kind of like when the first movie's amazing, you know, the sequel's going to be shit. But they did
threw it
quite
out.
well. Yeah, I think they did brilliantly on it. But
It's one of those IPs which, like, you really hope. You're always hoping for like improvements, but you don't want it to change too much.
exactly, yeah,
Because they have it perfect already.
yeah, exactly.
Awesome, man. We said there that like you haven't played Borderlands 3, but that's something that you'd be excited to play at some point. Are there any games that haven't yet been released that you're looking forward to?
I suppose everyone's expecting me to say Cyberpunk, but to be honest, I'm not really excited about it.
Controversial opinion.
I mean, it looks decent. The game I'm really excited for is Kenshi 2, and that's where everyone should be at.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't wait for it.
And
It's going to be so good when it comes out.
Being released?
No.
No.
I know it's currently in the works, but I know it's obviously the first Kenshi was done off a single programmer, so it took him like 7 years.
Which when you think about it, is actually mental.
Yeah, it is absolutely mad.
I've seen you play the original Kenshi, and that game is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, for a single person to do that is nutty, and especially off the current engine it's on. I don't know what the actual engine is, but I know it's very old. Yeah. So Kenshi 2 now has a whole team of programmers behind it and game developers behind it, on a much newer engine, by the looks of it, and I can't wait for it, because one of the things that kept Kenshi alive for so long was not only the game but the mods.
So yeah, and I see I've hesitated to explain the fact. Really quickly, for anyone who doesn't know what Kenshi is, explain the gameplay of it slightly.
Oh, okay. So it's basically an RTS world builder RPG.
And that stands for real-time strategy?
Yes, yeah. So you get so you can hire individual soldiers. You basically the whole idea of the game is what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You start
Right,
off as
right,
pretty
right.
much nothing, and you can rise to be the strongest warrior on the planet. As cringy as that sounds, it's still
No,
pretty
of
sick.
course. It's pretty awesome. It is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I get hyped every time I start a new playthrough. But yeah, no, see,
Hashtag Kyoto game.
yeah, exactly. um, but yeah, no. So it's basically it's what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You can go around hiring characters, customize them. You can make them proficient in what you want. You get to build your own base. You get to kind of create your own weapons, armor. You get to farm. There's pretty much everything in it. And it's kind of just made me fall in love with the game, to be honest.
Yeah.
It just
That's a good suggestion, and
yeah,
especially
definitely.
for people who usually aren't really fans of the RTS genre of game. For me, especially, I've never really been that much into it, but like watching it be played, it just looks like something I'd love to delve into. It looks really cool.
Yeah, well, I've always been massive into RTSs. I've got thousands of hours racked up on all the Total War combined.
Yeah.
So it is definitely my type of game. But obviously, if you don't like that
You're a
type
fan
of
of
game,
that sort of feudal system.
yeah, I love kind of just being able to build up your forces and wipe out your enemies.
Which can lead very nicely into a question I'll ask you in about 3 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But let's move on to film and television.
Yes.
So
So
we've talked the gaming side, but now on to film and TV.
yeah.
What would you say is your favourite TV series?
TV series. This is quite hard because I've never been someone that has watched TV a lot. I occasionally tune in to watch stuff, but that's usually on Netflix and Amazon Prime. So I've never actually watched. I've never been big on watching TV, and the series I kind of watch on Netflix. Let's see. So a few of my favourites has got to be The Last Kingdom, which is about an English child in the Viking era that gets kidnapped by Vikings, gets brought up in the Viking culture, and
Which
then
is absolutely fantastic.
yeah, it's a brilliant movie. And he proceeds to basically try and get back his homeland. Which it's honestly, I'd definitely recommend it if you're out of stuff to watch. American Vandal. Oh,
I believe that as a BBC production.
Oh, was it?
The Last Kingdom. Am I correct in saying that?
It might have been actually. Yeah, I think it is on Netflix.
But it is on Netflix for sure.
I think they might have bought the rights to it.
Yeah,
probably.
BBC Two.
Oh, okay.
Produced that, but obviously.
Yeah, that is absolutely insane.
If you do have Netflix, search up The Last Kingdom.
Yes, it is brilliant. And I definitely feel like you'd fall in love with it instantly. The next thing I'd probably say is probably one of my favorites is American Vandal. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen this, Archie, but
is it the George Lucas?
I don't know. I just remember watching it.
Is this a TV show or a film?
So this is a TV show, an American Vandal.
Right. I'm thinking of the American Vandal film.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, no. So this is a series that is, it's basically a mockumentary, which is basically a piss take of a documentary. And the first season of it is
about serial killers or murder mystery.
No, so it's about
right.
It's about this student that goes around drawing male phalluses on the teachers' cars, and there's this whole kind of conspiracy theory that all the teachers have kind of ganged up on this one student to finally kick him out of school, and this one person doing the mockumentary is basically backing the guy that's being kicked out of school, and he's kind of it's honest, it's so funny, and it's really well produced. In season 2, I won't go into that. I'll let you watch that for yourself. In fact, I don't know if you saw the clip. There was this massive clip that went around of what looked like an Australian school, school students, and basically all the school students were shitting everywhere.
Oh,
I don't know
God.
if you saw that. It was massive clip on Facebook. It was being passed off as like real.
Yeah. I've seen
Yeah,
it.
yeah. That was from the season 2 of American Vandal.
Oh my God.
But yeah, no.
Yeah, we won't go into it because actually you need to watch it. But yeah, wow.
Yeah,
I'll
no
talk to you
spoilers.
about that. I'll talk to you about that off podcast.
Cool.
Amazing. Give me a film. Give me a film.
Film Fury,
Okay.
the one with Brad
The-
Pitt in
the
about
war
World War
film,
II.
Tank.
Yeah.
Tank was
I don't know what it is. It is amazing.
Shia
Like,
LaBeouf is very good in that film as well.
yeah, I just love the concept. It's just something. It kind of, although it's so dark, because obviously with what happened back then, it's obviously not. I don't want to boil it down. World War II boiling down to being not good, but obviously it wasn't a good thing that happened. But the movie it really brings out how kind of dark it was.
Yeah.
And I feel like they just done such a good job.
It's very much about the brotherhood as well between the crew members.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's kind of like well, the new guy came into the group after the old one of their, I guess, brothers in arms dies, and he's basically treated like shit until they all gain respect and basically reform that brotherhood bond. And I think it's just probably one of my favorite movies by far.
Oh, it's a really cool pick, and it wasn't something I was expecting, so that's really cool. We've spoken a lot about your stints in rugby.
Yes, yeah.
Tell me, what is it about rugby that interests you? How did you get into playing rugby?
So I started playing rugby when I was 4, and I got pushed into it. But kind of from there, I just loved it. It was so fun. I mean, just obviously being 4, you don't get to do contact rugby until I believe you're 10, so under 11s.
Okay.
Yeah, so tag rugby was fun, boring but fun, I guess. And then you move up to contact rugby, and that's when it gets brilliant. Just smashing people to the ground. It just, I don't know. I've always kind of been slightly competitive. Maybe not anymore. I'm a bit like a sloth. I'm very laid back now. But yeah, no, I was always competitive in rugby. I love the feeling of winning. I love the feeling of kind of, getting hit, getting back up, and then hitting twice as hard back.
Yeah, would you say it was almost like a euphoria moment?
Yeah.
It's like all the adrenaline of the battle of
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Warriors out there on the field.
Yeah, it's really a shame that my rugby career ended when it did. Now I could give you the usual excuse of my knees, but to be honest, I played rugby up in Brighton, and unfortunately, I just couldn't get there anymore. When I started working and college, I basically had no time for it, and I didn't have any way of getting actually up to the training sessions, so I had to quit, unfortunately. Yeah. And that was when I really started to kind of like, this is something that I might want to do.
Yeah, I mean, you say that obviously that was the unfortunate circumstances that stopped you playing.
Yeah.
But did you ever deal with any quite serious injuries over the years?
From rugby, no. I've always been fairly tough, so I kind of I get hit and then get back up and play. Like, pain's only temporary. Like, it's not a big deal.
But there was no serious injuries like a torn muscles or broken bones.
Nah, drink too much milk. Bones are too strong. To be honest, I don't think I could compare to Jack though.
You're just being JD.
Yeah. But honestly, yeah, no, I pretty much down pints of milk. It's honestly the best drink out there.
What was the highest level you competed at?
So the highest level I competed at, probably.
Would it have been like county games against other major teams?
Yeah, so
other teams.
Yeah, I never got to a stage where. So my first team that I played with, Worthing Raiders, they're probably the best team in Sussex, or they were the best team in Sussex. I'm not sure how it is anymore, but basically they got to a level where they started playing teams from other countries. We were only on a level of, I believe it'd probably be county, was the highest. Now, in fact, actually, when I played rugby for my secondary school, we actually got to a point where we were easily the best team in Sussex, in a whole, because my whole team basically we all played rugby, so we all played rugby for the school and for separate teams, so we all knew what we were doing. We didn't really have to try. Because mainly the people that played rugby for school in the other teams were a bunch of footballers. So, I mean, you know what footballers are like.
Yeah.
So they're a bit of a pansy, a bit of a wipe, really.
You blow on them. No,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
I'm a bloody massive football fan, so that's coming. Did you ever like think during your career playing rugby that you might make it as a professional?
At the end, I did. That was when I started going to the gym. I hit the gym about every day for about 6 weeks. Started gaining muscle, started getting thinner.
Became swole.
Yeah, and that was when I was moved from the position of number 2, hooker, to number 7, flanker, because I had
explain the differences in what both of those positions' main objective is.
So basically, you've got 1 through, I believe it's 8, which are known as the forwards. And the forwards, they're basically the front line. You take the hits, you get back up, you hit twice as hard. They're there to kind of power over the other. They're basically kind of like the shield.
Yeah.
And the backs as a sword, if you were. You basically, you get hit, you power through, you just do whatever you can to get the ball to the back so they can score. The whole point of being a forward is being tough. You got that kind of image of a forward in your head of being like bald, cauliflower ears, like 6 foot, massive, bit chonky.
That's
yeah, down in pints in the pub.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I never really enjoyed any of that stuff. But I did enjoy the switch. So basically, the role of number 2 or a hooker was in the scrums. They're the person in the middle, the front row, that uses their legs to hook the ball to back through their half of the scrum to number 8, who then, it would probably go through number 8 to the scrum half, and scrum half will pass it off to the backs. So when I moved from hooker to flanker, my role basically changed to being it's a mixture between a back and a forward. You basically protect the scrum half, because as soon as the scrum half puts his hands on the ball, he can then be hit, like he can be taken down. So you basically act as a kind of a sword and kind of like a shield, in the idea of, if it goes to them, you can wrap round, smash their.
And I must say, like it's a really almost beautiful description that you're giving there of the method of it all.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's a really nice way to think of it.
Oh, thank you. It's just like I'm trying to explain it in the easiest way possible, because I know Probably a lot of people listening.
It's really nice. I mean, because I've never really been that massively into rugby myself, if I'm honest.
Oh, okay.
Like, I obviously played it at school, but never really had any aspirations to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Than I was particularly had to. Never really watched it that much, apart from like the Rugby World Cup and things.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. The standard stuff.
So it's nice to hear from the perspective of someone who actually really who played it a lot and is really passionate.
Yeah, it is a shame, as I say, that my career did end when it did. But I mean, to be honest, as I said, like I probably wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't be working in a job that I love. I probably wouldn't have met you guys if I carried on playing rugby.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, all things happen for a reason. So,
I mean, right now we're sat here by our computers talking when you could have been doing lines and shagging nines, but
exactly,
that's life. Let's move swiftly on from sport.
Yeah.
Let's move on from sport. I want to talk about music now.
Yeah, sounds good.
I want to ask you, what is your favourite genre of music, Shae?
So, I don't sound like it. I've been told I sound extremely posh, but my favourite type of music is drill, nice. Which is basically, it's usually people from London, but people have grown up the harsher side of life that have turned to using drugs, crime, and stuff like that as a means to get money. Whether it's selling or obviously other stuff to get money, basically.
Yeah.
The reason as to why I really like drill, I honestly I couldn't tell you. The beats slap. I feel like it really kind of that lifestyle really interests me, especially because I feel like I could have been in that situation at one point. Especially if I had grown up with my dad. Because when obviously when parents get divorced, usually the woman wins that. But if my dad by any chance was to have won custody of us, it would have meant that we would all probably be criminals. I'm not gonna lie. Probably doing a lot of bad stuff with. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've met a lot of my dad's mates, and a lot of them are very nice people. But there's also a lot of people that would make you shit yourself if you met them. Nicest people when you speak to them, but what they do is extremely messed up.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you say that drill music as well resonates with you because of your personal experiences, like with hardships that they've also had?
I mean, yes. Yes and no. In regards to kind of being like going around, obviously some of the lyrics in some of the songs are extremely messed up. They're going around about stabbing people, stuff like that. Obviously, don't condone that. It's probably not the greatest thing to be saying in music, but I don't really listen to it for that. The main thing I listen to it for is the beat slaps, the lyrics are hard, the flow's mad. And I feel like there's definitely a lot of stuff in drill music that resonates with me, especially when it comes to drugs. Because growing up from about 18 to 19, 20-ish, I had quite a severe problem with coke. Where, well, that's a lie, not 18, probably about good part way through my 19s to my 20s. So I had a real problem with coke, which has actually led to a few health problems, but that's not necessarily just to do with the coke. That's also to do with Monster energy drinks and an extremely bad diet. But kind of at that point, I had such a bad diet. I was constantly drinking Monster. I had the problem with cocaine. I started losing loads of weight. And it's actually led to me having 3 mini heart attacks. Which are fucking shit scary. Because it's a weird sensation, and to be honest, I don't know how I'm not dead. But I'm clean now. I haven't touched cocaine in good part of like 5 months, 6 months maybe.
So, mate, yeah, after this podcast, no, honestly, on a completely serious note, I mean, some people say that, like, and I'm not exaggerating here, some people say that music has saved their life.
100%.
So
I completely agree with that.
Would you agree with the sentiment to say that music can be a great tool for taking your mind off worries or for
100%.
shifting one's mood when they're in a dark place?
100%. You'll come to find there's nothing better than just going on a walk, popping some headphones in, listening to your favorite songs, just zoning out. You get to be in your own space, as well as concentrate on the stuff that kind of just concentrate on yourself. Like, you'll be listening to the music and it'll bring out all these emotions, because obviously the type of music you listen to brings out different emotions in you. One song might be from a bad experience in your life and another might be from a really good one. And you'll kind of correlate those songs to the times in your lives, and you'll be listening to your stuff, and it honestly it really, really does help. Like, for me personally, if I'm not speaking to anyone, or if I'm like kind of not at home or not at work, I'm listening to music just constantly. Like, I think I had something ridiculous, like I think 60,000 hours in Spotify last year.
All on the Be-Cray Podcast.
Exactly. Watch it now on Spotify.
Yes.
Quick plug.
Mate, I've got to do it. Would you say that your music tastes have changed over the years?
Definitely, yeah. Definitely. I think it's only recently that, well, over the past, since being like 18, I've started listening to drill. And it was only, I think I started listening to music in year 11. And I started listening to like stuff like dubstep, you know, the standards.
Yeah, a little bit of Skrillex.
Yeah, a bit of Ket Donk. Can't beat it, you know. But yeah, no. But yeah, I think it definitely has evolved. I mean, you're probably gonna ask me what my favorite songs are at some point. Tempted to say Rockstar. I can't lie, the song slaps.
I can't have Rockstar come up twice in 2 episodes. Right, that's it. I'm changing it. I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked JD, but I'm going to phrase it in a different manner.
Yeah, sure.
So, once again, in the same manner, you've been whisked away to a desert island.
Yeah.
But you're not there forever.
Oh,
you're only there for 24 hours, and then you're going to be returned back.
Nice.
Now, you've been taken to this desert island, and you've been told you must choose 2 artists / musicians to spend the 24 hours with you. So who do you take?
And Biz. Biz and Blanco.
Wow.
So
that was quick.
Yeah, a lot of people would be like, "Oh, all these legends, blah blah blah." I don't give 2 shits about them. To be honest, they're my 2 favorite artists. Unfortunately, I believe it was Biz. I believe it was in 2017. He passed away. He got stabbed multiple times. But yeah, and they were really changing drill music. They put a different spin on everything. Their flows are mad. Blanco, he just seems like such a chill guy from his music. I feel like I'd get on with him quite a bit. He seems like he'd be the perfect guy to bun a zoot with and just stare at the stars.
You just have a proper chill with
him. Yeah. And I think what I find absolutely crazy is that after Biz's death, because those 2 were very, very, very close, right. I believe he's actually training to become a lawyer now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's completely switched out, still doing music, but is also going to try to become a lawyer to, I guess, help with the issue that's going on in London.
Other people in need who might need representation.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a really brilliant thing, actually.
Yeah, because I thought it was a bit of a joke when I saw what he had said, but no, I mean, I completely rate him for sticking with it and actually doing it. because like that's got to
I
take
mean,
some balls.
what was the attack on Biz related to drill?
Yes, yeah. So you'll come to find a lot of drill artists. There's a lot of different gangs, I guess, that you would that kind of just despise each other and constantly beefing. And it's basically in London, if you're part of one gang and another gang doesn't like you, it's kill on sight for you. You don't have any chance.
Do
They will.
Do the gangs have different names?
Yeah, so there's multiple, more than I could probably remember. Some of the probably more well-known one, Harlem Spartans. I believe there is Zone 2, 6-7, Section 60. And because what you'll come to find is that a lot of drill artists use their gang kind of name as their overall artist names, and in those individual gangs, you'll have different artists in there. So the overall group will be called like Harlem Spartans, but inside you'll have like Blanco, Biz, Mizzle, Mac, stuff like that.
I mean, how do you agree with certain members of society and police and government like trying to outlaw drill in the same way that in the late 80s over in America they tried to outlaw gangster rap against people like the NWA due to the gang affiliations and the sort of things they were singing about? Do you see a correlation there with drill music, and do you think it's right that they're trying to block drill artists and potentially even put them in prison?
So I think it's completely fucks that they are trying to ban drill, because it is a creative outlet where people kind of rap. It definitely probably has stuff to do with knife crime rising, but what music doesn't? Like, music's always going to be a massive influence over people. Like in America, you probably got some country songs that encourage racism. You got, but the main problem over here is that we don't actually have free speech. So by law, the government can probably do it and completely shut off that type of stuff. But then you'll have kind of the masses that won't accept that, because that is suppression. Even if it is because to be honest, drill's music is art, and it's just a form to express yourself. And if you can't do that, I think you're going to be seeing something a lot worse if they do try to do it.
As the great NWA once said, express yourself.
Exactly. And I think, to be honest, even back when NWA were obviously a thing, they were doing bits for, rap and black rappers, black people. Yeah. They really made a change. Obviously, there are other artists out there, but I mean, the probably most well-known one obviously was NWA, and they absolutely changed the game in music.
Yeah, you got the Dog Pound, NWA.
Yeah, everything like that.
And they fought through that oppression of their music and of their colour, if we're being honest.
Yeah, exactly.
And look at them now. Ice Cube's one of the most famous blokes in the world. Dr. Dre's one of the richest men in the world.
Yeah.
Like,
was the first rapper to get 1 billion, wasn't he?
Yeah, obviously founded Beats.
Yep.
Probably the most well-known headphones in the world. It's like they had that creative outlook, and it took them to those heights. So
exactly.
Yes, it is sometimes worrying to think of the some of the things that might be rapped about, but
that's the thing.
They're talking their life. That's just their life.
Exactly. And that's what they're growing up seeing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I do think it's very.
It's not some sort of life that they've chosen. It's the hand they've been dealt.
Exactly.
And that's I think dealing with it.
Because they're doing that to get out of it. So by all means, don't fucking stop them, because you're just going to cause more of a problem.
Yeah.
Like, let them fucking do it, and you'll come to see that potentially you could reach new heights with stuff. Because I mean, let's be honest, the more people of different color we have in that kind of hierarchy, the higher up they are, the more change that's going to eventually be made. Because you'll find that people will come to accept that no matter what your skin color is, you can make it.
Yeah, there's not a ceiling.
Exactly.
And there never should be a ceiling for anyone.
Exactly.
But no, that's a really interesting discussion and amazing response time in terms of the desert island question.
Was
So
that
yeah,
like a millisecond?
Yeah, I wasn't even finished saying it. So that was Zin Shae's music choices. So if you haven't heard of those two artists, check them out.
Yes, please do.
Let's talk about something that has been affecting everyone in the world, and especially for us, specifically since March 23rd. For me, though, due to having symptoms and having a family member with symptoms, I have been in lockdown since the 11th of February.
Jeez.
So that's, 4 months for me. I've been to the shops and stuff, but blah, blah, blah. So let's talk about the COVID-19 lockdown. Specifically to you, how have you dealt with it?
See, it's not too bad for me, because luckily, as I said, I work in IT, so it means that I can work from home. Although that did lead to a stint of I believe it was about 2 months, where I just didn't come online. I didn't want to play games. I would much rather have just sat outside or just read books, because of staring at a screen all day. And because of that, I've also racked up a copious amount of overtime. So, ka-ching. Oi.
That's definitely an advantage, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's definitely very hard mentally. It's not easy, especially if you're someone like me that doesn't live with, your other half or your mates, and you live with your family. Don't get me wrong, it's great living with your family and all. It's very painful, I think, because you're waking up, you're seeing the same people constantly. And I mean, I don't know about anyone else, but I can barely stand to be in the same room with my family for a few hours without them getting very annoying. I'd much rather just go upstairs, chat to my mates, and obviously we're all very blessed because we've got Discord that we can talk over. We're always there for each other.
100%.
So I feel like although it has been hard, we've got off fairly lightly. Now, obviously, because I'm still working, I still have income. Now, I know that obviously yourself, Cody, Jack, and Joe all aren't working, or
haven't
had income.
Because
and
my usual work ended in February when all the COVID thing started, and I've had one day back, and then since then I've heard nothing.
Yeah, so I think, to be honest, it's not really my place on to how it's been in generalization, because I understand that it's been hard, but for me it's been all right.
But of course there is still hardships that come with that. Having to work remotely, sure, you have your computer in your line of work, but especially for me, I sometimes find it if I'm at home and there's something I need to do, I can usually find myself getting very distracted.
I very much used to be like that, but I feel because I've got such a passion in where I work, I love every second of it, no matter how hard, no matter kind of how stressful the situations are. I love every second of it, and I think that is it is coming out to show now that a lot of people don't like where they work and they hate it because they're not performing at home. You'll come to find that, if you love your job, if you enjoy what you're doing, you will you won't be distracted when you're working.
I
But
mean, it's one of the things I've found since starting the podcast is I don't want to completely flood everyone's pages with all of my work and some self-promotion and stuff, but I am so passionate about this, and it's something I absolutely love. And
yeah,
I've
exactly.
been-
And it's
I've
good
been
to have that
enjoying it so
drive.
much.
Yeah, you need to have that drive to succeed. And I think that's one thing everyone always starts out with, but only a select few will keep it.
Yeah.
And that drive is kind of what will end you. It will
Make or
basically,
break.
yeah, it will bring you to success in the end. Whether that be you have your own studio, starting this off with Discord, couple of mics, between mates, you might end up having Ricky Gervais on one day.
Who knows? The
Yeah,
sky's
exactly.
the limit.
You've just got to have that drive. And I think it's not too bad for me with lockdown. As I say, I work from home, but also where I live in a village called Ferring. Now the internet's here, shocking. But 90% of the residents.
I can relate to you on that.
Yeah, 90% of the residents here are old.
Well, 70 plus, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a very much a retirement place. But because of that, the scenery here is insane. We've got a little
We are absolutely spoilt for the countryside, especially
yeah,
where
exactly. Yeah, I've got 2 seconds away from me. There's a river that goes all the way up to the sea. I've got the sea about 10-minute walk away from me. I've got a fishing pond about a 5-minute walk away from me. I've got stables close to me. I've got everything, and because everyone around here is fairly old. No one's out, so it just means I take my dogs for a walk. I go out, I listen to my music. I can just chill for a good hour and a half, just walking the dogs, and it is so refreshing just to be able to get that kind of air. You can go outside, you feel free, because being cooped up all day, it's not easy, and it especially does get hard to kind of keep up because I mean, obviously at the minute you're not going out. My hair is ridiculously long. I've got I shaved the other day, but I had a full lockdown beard going on.
nice.
But yeah, no, I think it's definitely, it comes with its hardships, but then there's also a lot of benefits. And I think the people that are currently, sitting on the beach, and it's been like that for months upon months. They don't care. They're treating this as a holiday. And I think what you'll find is that no one's taking this seriously. But
it is a shame. A lot of people have taken it very seriously, but then like the few who don't, you wonder whether how many lives could have been saved if
exactly,
they had taken it seriously. And you can have any opinion on the government that you want, but it's also down to the citizens to do government.
Yeah, like the guy that left his home to travel up to wherever, I can't remember his name.
Dominic Cummings?
Yeah, Dominic Cummings.
Yeah.
He done that once. There's multiple people in England that spend every day down the beach, and the beaches are packed. And they're the same people going, "Oh, why are you doing this? Why aren't we allowed to do this?" Yet they're sitting on a beach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Surrounded by multiple people having a barbecue. I don't
particularly agree with what you did, but there is
but
there is basis there for it being an emergency child
exactly.
cage.
Yeah,
and obviously the distance he travelled was very long, and a lot of people say, "Well, what's the point of that?" But he was in a privileged position to have family up there. It's not particularly a thing of him being treated differently. It's that he had that option to go.
Exactly.
If his parents lived 5 minutes away, he would have taken him 5 minutes.
Yeah,
that's what I think. That's what I think a lot of people have got wrong about it, and also the thing about Barnard Castle. Barnard Castle, as to one of the places that he drove to outside Durham, is everyone made it out like he'd been to the castle, but Barnard Castle is just the name of the town. So like he just parked in the town. He hadn't actually gone up to the castle like it had been made out. But if people do want to talk or want us to have some sort of discussions on political points, this definitely be an open avenue that we can.
Yeah, that will definitely be something we should do in a group. I think we've all got very different views on everything, so
it'd be cool to have everyone in and everyone come up and talk about their points about that. I think very interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously, you said that your family's been kind of annoying at home if you've been in the room too long. How have they personally been coping with the lockdown?
Well, my mum and her boyfriend are fine. They've recently opened up a shop just around the corner. So that's currently flourishing at the minute, which is good. My two twin sisters have recently bought their first horse and realizing it's not as easy as they thought as it was to keep it under wraps. And my other sister she just currently helps at the shop at the minute.
Cool.
So yeah, I think they're all fine with it. But yeah, it's just not too bad.
Have you found yourself having any arguments with them?
Multiple. It's usually when they come home and they listen to BTS too loud and I'm working and I'm close to jumping out of the window. And I think, to be honest, it's the perfect environment for Jack. Just throw on a bit of K-pop and he's happy. For me, not so much. But one of the main things they do, they come home, they play their music very loud. I think, in fact, the other day I was speaking to one of our largest clients, directors, so the person that owns a company, and one of my sisters thought it would be funny to turn off the Wi-Fi.
All right.
And my phone is run off a PoE injector, so it's run. The PoE injector basically provides the phone with the internet and the power. So I lost the call and I lost all my work, and I wasn't too happy. I could say that, but it wasn't too bad. Me and the director laughed it off afterwards.
I guess that's quite a small spanner in the works of the overall year that has been 2020 so far, with a lot of the hardship going on, not just with social and democratic change, but with the viral outbreak and dealing with it. Have you found any positives from 2020 and your general outlook on life?
To be honest, I've always maintained especially recently, I've always maintained an outlook on life is just go with the flow. I don't have any kind of super hard drive. I don't necessarily know where I want to be in 5 years. I just want to enjoy my time now. And I think that's the problem, because a lot of people work too hard for their future ahead and completely fuck off anything that's going on now. And I can't really fathom that idea in my head, because why, it doesn't matter if I'm kind of still where I am at now. In 5 years, if I'm still enjoying what I'm doing, then what's the matter with that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I completely understand.
So I think it's just
people tend to look too far ahead and they forget to be present in the present.
Yeah, exactly. And I think so many people are just too focused on gotta make money.
Yeah, and that's I think something that has come around from especially the lockdown.
Yeah, people have.
Is life really does go 24,000 miles per hour, and I feel like the lockdown, although it has unquestionably been terrible and unquestionably been very damaging for many's mental health, being locked up, especially if they're vulnerable or they're lonely or they didn't have anyone. But for the majority, it's probably been a very useful slowdown to regular life and help people to say, wait a minute, Christ, these are the things I need to focus on.
Yeah, exactly. I think people finally start to realise that they're working to live, or they're living to work rather than working to live.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see a massive change in everyone's work mentality of people only maybe working 3 days a week, having a 4-day weekend, stuff like that. Because the whole country, like, I'm just going to say this now, like, you can't stop a whole country from implying these demands. Because let's be honest, you work 5 days a week to have 2 days off. Like, what? Makes no fucking sense. Like, you've got all these people that's like, oh, it's always been like that. But fuck that. Who cares if it's always been like that? You know what else has always been there? Racism. That's not fucking good. Like,
No, exactly.
I think it's time to make fucking loads of change to everything. And I think this generation of people finally kind of obviously it's a very, very vast everyone has their own differences in this generation. And I think it's finally come around to this. I think this generation, although it is it portrayed extremely bad in a lot of stuff, is what kind of the human race needs as a whole, because it will take this generation and will finally make the changes that need to be done. I think
I saw a tweet saying this generation will wake up at 12 in the afternoon, have a caramel latte, and not eat anything for 4 hours, then go and pick up a smoke grenade or tear gas grenade and throw it, but be afraid to call their doctor for an appointment. Which I think is quite fair enough, really.
Yeah, you ain't wrong. I mean, yeah, it's. I think everyone's kind of got that old mentality.
I think social change is definitely coming, and it's this generation that's going to be a part of it.
Exactly, and I think hopefully from now on, what we're going to start seeing is a lot of change in work, in anything kind of bad in the human race, all kind of beginning off with this generation. I think it's going to make a massive change. It will take a while. It might take 100 years, 200 to make all the changes, but as long as those changes are being made, one day everyone will look back and be like, what the actual fuck?
Even one step in the right direction is a step in the right direction.
Exactly.
Now, Shae, what are your plans for the rest of the year and going into 2021?
Well, I know Jack brought up the fact that he wants to go to Japan in December, and I was actually one of the people that's going to be going with him. I love to visit Japan. I think it's a beautiful country, especially for all the Insta pics. Oh boy, can't wait.
I really want to go. If I ever went to Japan, I'd love to go to the Akihabara.
Yes, the Weed Central.
I mean, honestly, it's literally for the neon lights.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's so fucking cool to me.
I've always I've always thought this, but like Japan is so far ahead technologically than any other country, and like
that's why so many people in Japan live so old. It's because they actually know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously their work mentality over there is bad, like very bad.
Yeah,
that's something we probably shouldn't get into.
I mean, look, I would love to have you on again, and we can definitely talk about things like that.
Yeah, of course, man. I mean, I definitely feel like kind of doing the podcast as a group. I think that would be very interesting. Obviously, maybe, I don't know, once a month, once every other month, just get us all in together, have a big, maybe like a piss up.
Yeah, it'd be really good to have some discussions on some quite hard-hitting things, and that's why I really appreciate you being so honest and
I think
very candid in your responses.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to stuff like this, you'll tend to find a lot of people kind of sugarcoat stuff, but this is just never going to help anything. You just tell it how it is, and you'll come to find that will eventually allow for change. Because when you sugarcoat stuff like that, it ends up just becoming a lie. Like, you say you're not bad or you're fine, and you're suffering from stuff like depression, mental health issues. You're lying to yourself.
I've been there as well.
exactly.
I
And
haven't been on the far extreme sides of it, but I've definitely been there.
exactly. And it really does take balls to step up and be like, look, I need help. And as I said, obviously, if anyone ever needs any help with anything, just drop me a DM on Instagram or something. And yeah, I'll be happy to talk to you.
Lastly, just to cut you off, as you're making a very important thing there, which I completely agree with. As I say, all of the links will be everywhere on the YouTube page. Be in the description for Anchor FM. It will be on the Pocket Casts and Spotify areas. And obviously, if we find out that we've been linked to any other sites, we'll be putting those in the description as well.
Did you get partnered?
I've been added to Spotify.
Oh no, I saw that. I saw the update
with the Anchor FM network. Yeah.
Congrats, man. Congrats.
Thank you, man.
That's after 2 podcasts. Right, yeah,
Yeah.
doing a bitch, you know.
Well, the funny thing, when I signed up to join all of the other, when I joined Anchor FM and signing up to be distributed to all the other major podcast platforms, they said it would be about a week to 2 weeks, depending on how good the product is. And Spotify said yes in 5 minutes.
Nice. That's good news.
And
Brilliant, man. Brilliant.
And I've had 9 unique listeners on Spotify so far. So
that's great.
That's 9 individual people, or at least devices.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that number's only going to grow.
Which is amazing. I really appreciate the support. Not to coattail it too much, but obviously I do have a Patreon. That is the direct way of supporting this program.
Exactly.
Is the direct means in funding it, helping me to buy all the upgrades. 100% of all proceeds for this show are going to the show. At 15 patrons, we are going to have a £40 or $50 giveaway. So yeah, please, sign up at any amount. It will be so appreciated. But just to give you a little bit of a platform, Shae, is there anything or anyone that you wanted to shout out?
I mean, yeah, all my mates. Jack, obviously yourself, KingChubbs, Matt, Cody. I mean, obviously I don't stream myself, so if you're listening and you don't know who any of them are, check out all their streams. I'm sure you'll enjoy them. I mean, as I said, I don't really have anything for you guys to follow. I don't stream. I kind of just, I mean, as I said, I would like to stream at one time.
I'll be leaving some of your socials in the description.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, just maybe follow my Instagram. I guess. That's the only thing you can really follow. I deleted Twitter because of how toxic it is.
Which is completely fair enough.
Yeah, it's not a good platform. But yeah, no. If you do get the time, obviously subscribe to the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. Self plug. Follow Joe on Twitch or KingChubbs. Follow JD Anime on Twitch. I guess. I guess you can check out Cody. I mean,
if you want.
Check out Killer CC as well. That's Cody. But yeah, no. I mean, other than that, that's pretty much it.
Shae, it's been an absolute pleasure. And
thank you for having me on.
As I say once again, I really appreciate your openness and willingness to talk on topics that other people wouldn't want to. And the main goal is, I hope that this program is informative, educational, infotainment, if it were. I hope it's been nice to listen to, and if anything, I hope that these topics that we've discussed has been able to help someone. So thank you so much. Even just the fact that you're listening to this is supporting me, and I really appreciate it. To all the people who have subscribed, I just checked. We have over 300 views on YouTube now. in 5 days. We have over 36 subs. We got 9 patrons, which is absolutely fucking incredible. And I apologise for swearing, but it's a dream come true for me, and I don't want to stop anytime soon. And if anyone is out there who wants to continue to support me, all the links will be in the description. Please give Shae a follow. Please leave us some comments if you wanted to give us some nice feedback. And for all the ladies, as Donnie is on Tinder, you know. Yeah. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much.
I wasn't expecting you to add that.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Shae.
Honestly, thank you for having me on. It's been brilliant.
Goodbye, everyone.
Yeah. Hey, where shall I begin? It's been a long year. I'm just happy that the feds, them are not here. But if it weren't for them, I would've never got here. Cause every time we meet, it makes me see I should be gone clear. Ends got peaked, so I'm staying at my nan's house. Cause I just wanna make enough P, then cash out. And bring along the day ones that ain't dabbed out. Not everything's as sweet as my track sound. Taz got 6 cause he couldn't keep his hands down. Bob got nicked cause he wanted them a man down. I want no if, buts or maybes in the damn crowd. They need to tell me I'm the king and that's hands down. Coming up I never had no handout, but that don't mean I never had my hands out. I was low, you wouldn't know cause you didn't stand round. You were in the light while I was watching from the background. Bro said he got me, I know he meant it.